Hi there. This video is about the single biggest mistake board directors make when they want to grow their business, how to address that problem and turn your business into a sales machine. My name is Stefan Boyle. I'm the founder of Mastering Republic. We're a B2B lead generation agency. Now, most board directors are obviously looking to grow, develop and expand their sales in their business. And the most common way of solving that problem is to either push the sales team they've already got or is to hire more salespeople. Now, the problem with that is salespeople are generally the most expensive resource in any business, and what they're great at doing is often converting business and then managing those clients and looking after them for the long term. What they're not good at doing is going out and finding more clients. Often what salespeople do is look at their own network, talk to everyone they know, deal with the clients they've already got, try and get some referrals. But of course, any person's list is, or the people they know is not endless. Once they've kind of networked enough and they've got as much of their business from the people they know, the next step is trying to find more people. And that is the single biggest problem most businesses have when they're looking to grow their sales. So in order to address that, you've got to look at a system and a procedure and a process in place to try and find more opportunities. Now, what most people do is they buy a list of their target prospects, and they give that list to the sales team and say, there you go, guys, get on the phones and see what you can develop from there. Find some opportunities, set some meetings. Now, the problem with that is, first of all, salespeople generally don't like doing that. If they say they do like it, they're probably lying, but most salespeople don't like cold calling. It's a difficult thing. I think more than 80% of cold calls, you can't even get through to the right person. I'm sure you know what it's like with gatekeepers, voicemails, or all those different ways you try and use to get through to people, and just barrier after barrier put in place for you, and you can't actually get through and have a conversation, even if they fit your perfect profile of the people you want to work with. So there's a major problem there. The other problem with that is your sales team are probably one of your most expensive resources in your business. Now, doing a low-level, in theory, task like cold calling is not the best use of their time. If you've got an average transaction or a lifetime value that is high, your sales team are probably expensive, and you probably just don't want those guys sitting on the phones getting barriers put in front of them all the time. Now, I've got a printing background. Had a printing business, family business for a few decades. And I came to the realisation that I had exactly that same problem, is that we're looking to grow our business, looking to find more customers. The customers we had were fantastic, did great business, looked after them, they stayed with us for an awful long time, but I wanted to grow. So I did the typical thing, I went out and hired more salespeople. And it was a high churn because I hired them expecting more business. There might have been a short upturn when they spoke to the people they already knew, but then it dipped off because they didn't have any process, or I didn't have a process, more importantly, about how to go and get more leads. So it got to the stage where I had probably about 6 people in my sales team, and those people were changing fairly regularly when I had to go through that hiring and firing process, which isn't fun, is costly, and it's not a great way of having some ongoing revenue because your people are changing all the time. So if you're in that position, you're not alone. I've been there. I know that feeling. So I really realised that to address that problem, I had to change. The problems with me, my education, what I knew, my skill set, and the processes and systems I wanted to put into my business. So I made a commitment about 7 or 8 years ago to really learning more about marketing, more about lead generation, how to find more opportunities, open doors, and provide hot leads really to my sales team to go and convert. So I committed to learning more about marketing. I put myself onto a number of different marketing programs. I attended conferences and webinars and seminars and read, and still do to this day. I still try and continually learn. Now, I learned an awful lot, a lot of skills from social media, SEO, lead capturing. It goes on and on and on. There's an awful lot of stuff I learned about online marketing, content marketing, and how to draw people into your business. But the problem with waiting for people to come to you is it's not predictable, it's not targeted. Now, the reason I use that word predictable is one particular book I read, which is this book here called Predictable Revenue, and that's kind of the holy grail for every business owner, is to have something that's predictable, that you can scale because you know the numbers in place. Now, I read this book, and it's one of the books that really resonated with me. I've read an awful lot of books, and I've learned a lot of stuff. Some I can really implement, some are more about mindset and long-term strategy. This was a system in place in this book, and the process they use in this book is called Cold Calling 2.0. If you haven't heard of Cold Calling 2.0 or predictable revenue, it was developed by a guy called Aaron Ross at Salesforce.com. Now, Salesforce are a global CRM system. Now, Aaron Ross implemented Cold Calling 2.0 and it ended up with $100 million of recurring revenue. Now, I think that kind of level of success is worth listening to. So I read this book and thought, wow, this is actually remarkably simple. I think this is worth, and it's easy to try, it's easy to put in place. So that's exactly what I did. Now, the process of cold calling 2 is really about a number of different factors. Now, firstly, it's about defining your ideal customer profile. Now, people think, well, who is that? Well, the first thing that people do is, well, I really want to work with this sector. Now, just saying you want to work with the sector isn't any proof that that will be a hungry market who are eager to buy your products and services. The best way of actually defining your ideal customer profile is look at your previous success. What has really worked? Success leaves clues. Look at trends in your business, trends in your client base, trends in where you've won business. And the ideal customer profile is not just winning business, it's winning sustainable, profitable, long-term business that gives you that growth that you need. So defining your ideal customer profile is the first step of the process. Now, the different thing between Cold Calling 2.0 is we're not just building a database of your perfect target market. So let's say, for example, you're targeting sales directors. Now, we're not necessarily building a list of sales directors. The concept behind Cold Calling 2.0 is we're building a list of people around your target market, their peers, their bosses, the CEO, the operations directors, business development directors, or other people around the sales director. So we build a list of people around that target market. And then what we do, you put it into a system, often Salesforce, the system we use. There's other systems as well out there. It can be done manually as well, but it's not as scalable. But the process is sending out daily emails to those people that are really simple. We're not talking about HTML, we're not talking about logos and images and special offers and graphics. We're sending out emails that look like it's an email that I've just sent to that individual person. It says something along the lines of, "Dear Bill," or whoever the person is, "I'm looking for the person in your business responsible for lead generation or business growth or whatever it is that you're campaigning for. Please can you help point me in the right direction? Who is responsible for this in your business?" And all you're doing is asking for a referral. And it's literally as simple as that. And it's, "Please can you give me your guidance? Kind regards, Stefan." And it's literally a simple email that looks like it's been individually written to each individual recipient. Now, we send between 50 and 100 emails per day on a campaign, and we get between 9 and 13% response rate. So let's say 10%, you've sent 100 emails out. So every day, in theory, you've got 10 people who've responded. Now, I'll be honest, responses vary. One response could be, "Go away, don't ever contact me again." Like any selling or any marketing, an element of the people don't want to know from you. But at least you're disqualifying those people and you're not continually annoying those people by keep emailing them or keep calling them. There's no interest whatsoever. Some of the people will say, "It's me, tell me more." That's obviously a great scenario because you've made contact. When you call those people, it's not a cold call. The whole concept of Cold Calling 2.0 is cold calling without cold calls because there's been some contact, there's been some correspondence before you actually pick up the phone. So if you have a referral from the CEO, and even if you have to call the receptionist, if you haven't got a direct dial, if you can say the CEO and you've got their name and they've said to speak to John or whoever it is you've been referred to, you've got more weight behind that call to actually make sure you get put through to them. And obviously with any setting, there's a little bit of smoke and mirrors there and not there's any deception there, but if it's a genuine referral from the CEO or a senior person in the business to another person, there's a good reason to talk to them. So that's a simple overview of Cold Calling 2.0, referrals, conversations, and this is what it's all about. The first step is, again, a very non-threatening approach. So again, it's not like we're really selling to people. The first parts of Cold Calling 2 is establishing a fit and building rapport. So what we want to do from anyone who responds to an email campaign, the first thing you do is say, all we'd like to do at this stage, we're not selling anything, we just want to understand if there's a fit between our businesses. And you schedule a call, or if they say, "Call me now," or whatever it may be by the response. When you have that conversation with your prospects, the first thing you do is say, "Look, tell me about your business." Ask pertinent questions to establish there's a fit, trying to get them to open up about any pain, any issues, any problems, and qualify them, and obviously find a solution that can solve their problems. Of course, the same with any selling. If it doesn't, there's no fit, or they're not ready right now, you can either schedule a call or keep in touch, or or disqualify them if there's no fit at all, whatever. So you're not marketing to the wrong people, hoping there's, you're building an image of a pipeline. Actually, those people are never going to buy from you because they're contracted, or there's no requirement, or they don't like you or your company, or whatever it may be that disqualifies them. You can take them out of your marketing and your sales pipeline. That's the concept behind cold calling 2.0. So one of the most important factors to really focus on here is not just number of leads, number of appointments. Now, give you an idea what I mean here. Lots of lead generation companies do a cost per lead basis. We don't do that because we believe it's focused on the wrong criteria. They're really going to drive as many leads as possible, and the quality tends to deteriorate. So if you're targeting your salespeople by number of leads, number of appointments, they're going to have the same issues. They've got to hit 10 appointments a week or whatever it may be. Now, some might be very good, but as they're struggling, they just try and set appointments with anyone just so they can hit their criteria. The most important thing to remember is quality, not quantity. And so it's engagement, it's making sure that it's the right person, you're qualifying at a high level, and all those factors, decision maker, budget and need, all those kind of things. But not just appointment setting here. We do encourage all of our clients, whether they do this themselves or they outsource it to us, is that focus on engagement, starting a conversation, not just appointment setting willy-nilly. So you go off on a wild goose, it's very busy, you're running around the country having meetings, but it's important to have quality meetings that will lead to conversion. Conversion makes money, number of leads doesn't. Now, the great thing that I personally liked about predictable revenue was that name itself, predictable revenue. Now, don't expect that you implement this process in your business or you outsource it to us and then sort of overnight you know exactly how many leads you're going to get. There is a process of anything of actually refinement, defining your messaging, defining your ideal customer profile, testing, scaling. You start small, you test it, you don't burn through data, and just by sending out thousands of emails and actually realise that those people weren't right, or your message wasn't right, or there's no engagement there, or whatever it may be, and you're basically wasting your time. You start small, you test, you split test, you scale, and you grow from there. So, don't suddenly think that overnight your lead generation problems are all solved instantly. There is a learning curve. Whether you use experts who are doing it across different sectors and different campaigns, different messages all the time, like us, or you implement this in-house, don't suddenly expect your team to overnight change. But the beauty is, over a period of time, generally that is 3 to 6 months. That is the sort of commitment you've got to look at here. That after that period of time, you know that X number of emails, X number of response rates, X number of calls will result in this many appointments, this many meetings, this many proposals, this much business. And it's working through those numbers over a period of time. But the beauty of it is very doable to really understand what your process can be. Now, the great thing about that is once you really understand your numbers and understand your ROI on your prospecting team, you can then scale that. You can bring more people, build that team up, and build the numbers once you can cope with the number of leads or cope with the business or whatever it is that you're looking to achieve in your business. Now, we implement cold calling 2.0 across all our client campaigns. Now, of course, we go by the guidance in the book, but a book is a theory. Obviously, it was developed at Salesforce.com and it worked specifically for that business. We run it now across different campaigns with different types of clients, different industry sectors, different targets, and we've really evolved the whole process on. So there's a lot more that we do to actually help this process become more effective. Now, that could be from messaging, from the ideal customer profile, from the number of touch points in the business, and we've implemented a process called 7 by 7, which is a simple process. It's generally 7 steps in 7 days. Now, the whole idea of a sales funnel here is to obviously jump people into a sales qualified lead as quickly as we possibly can. But of course, there's a number of steps to do that. Now, some people jump straight away and they're qualified in, and that's obviously the ideal. The ideal is to get as many into this level before, with less number of steps. That's the most effective way. But to give you an indication of what we do, the first step is a cold calling to traditional email, which is a guidance please email that says, "Dear Bill, I'm looking for the person responsible for X, Y, Z. Please can you help point me in the right direction? That's the first email, and you can expect between 9 and 13% typically response rate from that. Now, that response rate I've already explained is, me, go away, or it's a referral, or tell me more before I refer it, and there's some email engagement there. The next step is people who don't respond. 48 hours later, we send almost an identical email. And what amazes us, we get often a higher response rate, or not necessarily more than 13, but maybe 10, 11, 12% response to that second email. Now that's what we love about this process. It's, there's a first stage there that actually is getting some good results. But if we work on 10%, what always annoys me is that means 90% of our data hasn't responded. And if we profiled properly, that's 90% of the people on that list that haven't engaged with us, and we really want to. So we want to keep persevering with these people. So we find other ways of engaging. So our steps here are a combination of other emails. I mean, the third email is probably a slightly longer email, not an epic story, but just really maybe, we've helped companies like yours. Here's some, for example, some names. We've worked with Corporate 1, Corporate 2, or we've helped implement this, and we've saved this company 10%, or whatever it is, whatever message we can come up with for you, and that actually has a great response rate as well. And then obviously there's calls of people who've responded or not responded in here, what we call mapping calls. And then there's maybe a couple of stages here where we're just sending out relevant information to those people. It's not really a sales message, but it might be an authority site, a blog post, an opinion, a white paper, a webinar. There's a whole number of different things we can use. Just keep that engagement going to go, actually, I remember that company, and people reply to it. And the very last step is something that is slightly controversial in some ways, is what we call the breakup email. Now that is, we get amazing response from that. When we first show our clients a breakup email, people are almost like, are you serious? Because we're looking to provoke a reaction, a positive reaction, by trying making people smile in a way or make it memorable. So we kind of give people an option or make it funny. For example, we give them, the reason, well, I'm guessing the reason you haven't responded is, 1, you're not interested, 2, we haven't targeted you, you're not the right profile. And one thing that makes people smile is, you're in the Caribbean right now, and that's why you haven't had time to respond, or something along those lines that's slightly jokey, slightly light-hearted, and that gets a reaction. Now, often that's a positive reaction, and actually, we get some great response. Like any marketing, some people will say, stop being so bloody sarcastic, and of course, that happens. But it's never offensive, it's never too silly, but it's just enough to say, oh, I like that. And some people, we've got a whole history of different responses. You actually made me laugh, or I'm just responding purely because this email, made me smile, and because you made the effort to do that, I'm responding to you. So it really works. So we've got proof of that. We do it all the time. Every single campaign has a breakup email for people who haven't responded. Now, I suppose the question that everybody asks me is, how many leads will I get? What can I expect to implement cold calling 2.0? Now, very hard to answer that. That's why we can't actually, on our campaigns we offer for our clients, we can't commit early days. We don't know what predictable revenue is. You probably would know that in your business more than we would. So people say, I want X number of leads. Now, we're not going to know for a whole number of reasons, but to give you a kind of guideline. Here's some brief numbers that we tend to work on as sort of a benchmarking process. So in a monthly basis, that's 1,000 emails, around 100 calls, 20 leads or 20 engagement conversations, people who have qualified, and around 15 SQLs. Now, that is only a guideline. It all depends. We have some clients where there's only a very finite number of opportunities in the whole year. We're talking in the tens rather than the large numbers. So there's never going to be 50 of those every single month. There's only 40 in their whole marketplace over a whole year. If your market's quite broad, you really know who you're targeting, you've got a great proposition, you've got a great reason to be speaking to people, you've got more chance of having those, hitting higher numbers. If you've got a very niche but high value proposition to a very targeted small marketplace, of course, those numbers will be less than that. But the whole point of implementing this is that if it's the right people at the right time and a higher chance of conversion, if you've got a 6-7 figure proposition, for example, you don't need dozens and dozens of those every month, because of course to win those, there could be an awful lot of sales process, required. But, if we're targeting those people at the right time, you convert more of those, the cost of implementing a campaign internally or outsourcing it is still relatively low or massively low in some cases if you've got a high-end proposition. Now, at this stage of any video like this, I'm sure you're thinking, what are the next steps here? How do I do this myself? Or how do I speak? How do I take this further? Now, what I would love to do, I love working with ambitious business owners, directors, sales directors, owners of a business, people responsible for the growth of their business. Now, what I'd like to do is the right people who want to talk to me about how we build a strategy to identify your ideal customer profile, build your messaging, build your skill set of how you implement this into your business, build the tools, how you actually physically make this work, and how you come up with a strategy to develop predictable revenue. I'd like to do that for you for free. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not actually a sales pitch. At Master Republic, we charge around $3,997 per month for a campaign on an ongoing retained basis. We're a specialist lead generations outsourced sales agency using cold calling 2.0 for clients across different markets, different sectors, different geographies. We've even run this across 21 countries in Cantonese, Mandarin to the Far East, China. We've done it across the States, done it across South America. We've done it all around the world. And we know this market, we know this process, we know how to do this. So I want to help you implement this into your business. So if you're ambitious, you want to learn how to develop a strategy to do this for you, I'll happily do this for free. Now, there's a couple of reasons I can't help everybody. First is the time, so it's a first come, first served basis. Secondly, I need to understand a bit more about individuals' business so I can do some research and prepare. And then what I like to do for people who apply, I will offer a free 30-minute consultation. Now, just to understand, this is to offer real value and to actually develop a strategy that you can use in your business. If you don't think after a call that we have, I haven't helped you in one tiny way, I'm prepared to offer you or a charity of your choice £500. So I hope you can see I'm prepared to put my money where my mouth is. The expertise that we're developing on an ongoing basis, I hopefully can help you with if you fit the criteria and you're ambitious, you're prepared to put the time in to try and use cold calling to build predictable revenue into your business. So the next steps are very simple. All you do is click on the link on this page, fill in a simple questionnaire, and all I want to know is some information about your business, about your current sales process, so I can really understand it, I can research and I can prepare. And if we have that call, I can really help add value to you. So thank you very much for listening today and watching this video. I hope it's been useful to you. Please feel, if you want to go ahead and go to the next step, apply now on this page, and I hope I can talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.